Hello Simmers, welcome back to the channel. I am your beloved host, Meg Simserra. Everyone knows who I am, of course, so no further introductions should be made. And I figured today we could take it slow, chill out, relax, grab a cup of tea or a cup of coffee if that's what you prefer, and just chat a bit about The Sims. With the upcoming Sims Summit coming up on the 18th of October, we have entered a kind of flop era of The Sims where we really don't know what's coming next. We expect big changes and big news to be made, and we will obviously have a lot of questions to be asked about what's coming up. But I thought we'd take it back today, take it back old school, and just ask some questions that I suppose none of us have really thought to ask before. There will be some popular ones in there and some things you might not have thought of before. But I hope this can be an insightful, fun, enjoyable video for you, and I hope we can just stay nice and chill and calm throughout. Quick disclaimer here, these answers have been made up on the spot to all of these questions. I have not checked any sources, I have barely taken any research for any of these, and all the questions here most definitely have been asked before. Starting off hot, we are asking what happened to Bella Goth? And of course, I will say to you this. Yeah, right, as if I'm going to tell you that, as if I'm going to answer that question right away when I know that's all you guys came here for. She's probably going to be in the thumbnail, guys, but stick around to the end and I promise Bella Goth will show up. First question I have to ask is, why are there so many graves on Olive Spector's lot? What happened to them? Did she kill them? And my answer to that is a sound, emphatic no. I do not believe she did kill them. In fact, I believe she's actually doing a good thing. We all know Olive Spector's friendship, let's say, with the Grim Reaper. Their potential son, nervous subject. They're good buddies, and I think the Grim Reaper does have a heart. You can see that evidence in The Sims 4, where where you can plead with the Grim Reaper to save your beloved loved one's life, and sometimes he'll accept, and obviously he does enjoy his death flowers as well. So, you know, all in all, I think the Grim Reaper is a nice guy. I like to think that actually most of the tombstones in Olive Spector's lot are actually from deceased Sims who the Grim Reaper, well, reaped, and he saw that they had no one left to mourn them, so of course Olive stepped in, gave them a nice sound burial on her lot. She goes to visit them, sits in her chair and chats with their spirits sometimes. I think she's just doing a nice thing and is laying peaceful rest to the dead. Now, this is a big question that you might not have asked before, but my biggest question for The Sims, and it has been for a while now, especially in The Sims 4, is why would Nancy Landgrab marry Jeffrey? I know there's no two ways about it. Nancy Landgrab married Jeffrey. Jeffrey didn't marry Nancy Landgrab. Jeffrey took the Landgrab name. Jeffrey's now got the Landgrab fortune. He's supposedly a good Sim, but somehow he also allowed Nancy to kick out their son Malcolm. Not Malcolm, he should be kicked out. I don't like Malcolm, he's a little weed. But you know, he somehow allowed her to kick out their son Johnny. And all in all, Nancy could just do way better than him. Just look at their profiles. Look at Nancy. She's beautiful. She's stunning. She's getting on a bit in age, but she's still quite young. She's still got her youthful features. And sure, she may have had a bit of work done on her nose and other places. But, you know, I think she's still stunning either way. And then you look at Jeffrey, and he's just a bit of a, well, he's a wet wipe, really. And I just don't understand why she could want to be with him. And I don't really have much of an answer for that. I know I'm breaking up the questions already, except I believe that maybe because Jeffrey's a good Sim, he may have, I don't know, saved Nancy's life one day, and Nancy decided to repay him by going, well, actually my family's pressuring me to get married anyway, to carry on the Landgrab name and fortune or whatever. I'll just marry this guy. She just kind of, he saved her life, or maybe she just picked him out on the street. She was like, this one will do. Got married straight away, and that's the end of that, I guess. The next question is coming from The Sims 4 Strangerville, and my question to you is, how did the mother plan to get to Strangerville? I have a tiny bit of a theory for that, and my theory is that actually the mother plant was there to begin with. I believe that she was just minding her own business underground, just chilling. Maybe she had a little plant army, maybe not. And one day the government and the Sims military just stepped in and decided to take over the town and build a military base there. And I just think she wasn't very pleased with it. So she, of course, decided to take over the town in earnest to protect her home. This is her home. They've come in and stolen her land, in my opinion, and I think the mother plant should be worshipped, she should be respected, and I think we should give her back her land. And this is a question that has been posed by the Sims theorist community for a long time now, and that question is, how did Skip Broke die? We all know the theory that Brandy Broke took away the ladder in their tiny one-tile swimming pool to kill him, but why would she do that? She had a baby on the way. My theory is actually Skip Broke had to die, and you see, this kind of ties into the fact that Skip Broke also has a clone in there. I believe that Skip Broke always clones. I believe that Skip Broke is a single entity that has lasted for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and there can only be one Skip Broke. And the baby that Brandy Broke is currently holding in her baby belly is actually the next generation of Skip Broke. And there could only be one, so unfortunately the baby took over Brandy's body, possessed her from the womb, and possessed her to kill her husband, despite the fact that they would have no more money. You might be asking, what's Dustin got to do with all of this? Obviously he's Skip Broke's son, surely he would be the clone, and no, I just don't believe it. No, I think that Dustin was a mistake. I actually think that Dustin was called Dustin because they were supposed to call him Dustbin, and I think that that he was just kind of trash from the get-go. I don't like him. I can't tell you why I don't like him. I just don't. And so he does not get to inherit the role, the title, the position as this generation's Skip Broke. It goes right on to his baby brother. Next one is another doozy. How did Don Lothario end up in Riverview? We all know his bio, where it states that he had giggling girls and was suddenly transported to Riverview, and there he is now. He lives in an old barn and that. But actually, I think that the giggling was from just his good friends Nina, Dina, Caliente, just chatting and giggling. And I bet he actually made one last joke, and they were actually transported in there upon his request. I believe that Don Lothario saw the folly of his ways, let's say, and he decided he no longer wanted to really be truly be a womanizer anymore. He wanted to just live a life as a simple farmer, and so the Calientes obliged, and they contacted their alien relatives, and they transported Don to Riverview several years into the past. And I believe that the true way to play Don Lothario's household in Riverview is just to let him get on with his farmer life and have him settle down, maybe, have a couple of kids, maybe just he settles down with a couple of dogs or something, I don't know. But I don't think it was anything malicious. I think he asked for it. I mean, look at how happy he is in that picture as well. I just think, he's a very happy guy, and I think I support him in his future farming endeavours, and I hope he gets all the best. Next question is a big one that I have always wanted to know. What is a plumb bob made out of? Because throughout the series there seems to have been multiple different versions of the plumb bob, and everyone seems different. And so I have theories for what each of the plumb bobs were made of. And starting from Sims 1 all the way up to Sims 4. Sims 1, I think it was just made of cheap plastic, kind of like the ugly, cheapy plastic that you get on McDonald's toys or something like that. I think it's just made of that. It's just plastic. There's nothing in. I think it's hollow. I think it has a hollow noise. I don't think it's going to taste very nice either. I think it's going to taste like Nintendo Switch cartridges, personally. Number 2, we have, obviously the Sims 2 plumb bob, and this one's weird because it also kind of glows with an inner light. It's kind of shiny, but not really. It looks to me like it's made of some kind of crystal or glass. I think it's a very pretty plumb bob. This isn't actually what the plumb bob looks like, but it's actually very hard to find pictures of the Sims 2 plumb bob for whatever reason out there. And I was about to load up the Sims 2 just to get a picture of a plumb bob. So yeah, I think it's made of glass, and I think the inner light is some kind of pulsing soul. Now the Sims 3 plumb bob, that one's just straight up apple flavoured sweets. It's straight up apple flavoured candy for you Americans. or maybe it's lime or something, but I think it tastes like apples, sour apples, and it looks very tasty. And I think that if I had a real life plum bob as a child, I would be sticking it right into my mouth. It looks so tasty. I'm so hungry, and it's kind of making me a bit thirsty now, not gonna lie. And then last but not least, we have the Sims 4 plum bob. She's kind of pretty, kind of weird looking, I'm not gonna lie. She doesn't look very tasty, but I think she is still actually edible. I think she's made of marshmallow. And I know she looks quite solid. She looks like solid plastic, like the Sims 1 logo, Sims 1 plum bob used to. But I think she's kind of like a powdery, marshmallowy kind of thing. I think if you actually bit down into a Sims 4 plum bob, it's going to have some kind of soft filling like marshmallow, or maybe just polystyrene or something like that. But I think marshmallow personally. Would I take a chunk out of this plum bob? Probably. Next up is a sad one. Who is a tragic clown? We've all seen theories about the tragic clown before. He's been in every single Sims game up to this point. In Sims 1, I believe he just came and made everyone sad and cried, and you had to like burn his painting and he would set on fire and die again, which is, you know, traumatizing. Sims 2 he would arrive. I can't remember how in Sims 2, but it was there. Sims 3 he was a ghost, which is tragic. He died of drowning apparently. Sims 4 he again comes out from a painting, and if you have the tragic clown costume on your sim as well, they will actually become really sad all the time because of it. Sims 3 also had a curse of the tragic clown as well. It was a potion, I believe, that you could feed Sims and they would turn into a tragic clown temporarily. And so that makes me think that the tragic clown isn't really a person, it's a collective. Every tragic clown is different. They always show up differently. There's some theories that maybe he died drowning in his own tears. I don't believe that for a second. I just think that the tragic clown is just some random sad sack who got possessed or cursed into being the tragic clown, and here they are. If you want my theory for if he was just one singular person, I believe he's just a demon straight from hell, like in It. What happened to Agnes Crumplebottom's husband? His name was Eric Darling, I believe, in The Sims 3, and you can see here that she was quite a looker, and in The Sims 3 apparently her husband shortly after marriage passed away, so shortly after marriage that actually Agnes didn't even take his last name, and since then she grew up to be a bitter crotchety old woman who hates seeing any kind of romance and will hit your sim if she sees them with her handbag being all romantic. And some people say that that's because she lost her own husband tragically. I like to think of Agnes as actually she's probably just aromantic to an extreme extent, and instead of walking away, sometimes she just gets really pissed off because how dare they have any PDA in this room? It looks disgusting, it's gross, why would you do that? And I believe that she only married Eric Darling for his money. After all, they do live in a massive house, and that she bumped him off as soon as they got married, kept their funds, and just grew up and enjoyed her life as a rich lady. I mean, look at her. She looks so happy in The Sims 4, and she's always had those pearls around her neck and around her ears. I think she's actually quite wealthy, you know. And sure, in The Sims 4, she does kind of run a garden store with a cousin, but you know what? Just because she doesn't like romantic relationships or people in romantic relationships doesn't mean she doesn't like family, you know? Next up is a weird one. And the question is, what do the Calientes want? Because obviously in The Sims 2, the Calientes came in on the eve of Belagoth's disappearance. And as soon as she disappeared, you know, they moved on. One's with Don, one's with Mortimer, one's with Mortimer, and you know, it seems that they maybe just want money or woohoo or love, but I actually think my theory for the Calientes is completely different. I actually think the Calientes are just some chill people. I just think they're some chill girls. They're sisters. They just want to move on with their lives. They want to settle down, maybe have a family, and sure, Morty may be a bit rich, but that doesn't mean I think it's Dina. That doesn't mean Dina doesn't love him. It's probably going to be Nina that was with him, but no, it doesn't mean that Dina doesn't love him, you know. I think she just fell in love with him. I think she could also potentially be a great stepmother to Alexander Goff. Probably not to Cassandra, considering they're about the same age, which is a bit, you know. But yeah, I think in general the Caliente twins are great. There's also that kind of those questions into their heritage, like obviously they're aliens, or they're part alien or whatever. They don't really exhibit any of the alien traits. They're kind of they're too far down the line to exhibit those traits now, but I think they still have their connections, and I think that's true. But I think they're just, you know, friends with other aliens. They still chat with their family, you know. I would say family overseas, but it's more like family over skies or whatever it's called. But I think they just use their connections to help people, like with Don Lothario and maybe with Bella Goth, but we'll see about that later. Next is we're getting into the more metaphysical questions now. It's not really about the lore, it's more about you know, just the Sims franchise as a whole. And my question is, what's happened to the burglars? Why aren't there any more burglars in The Sims 4? Now, official stance is something along the lines of it might be too triggering for viewers, and so they kind of cut it out and that. But I have a different opinion of what happened to the burglars in The Sims 4. And my opinion is that they've probably unionized. Yeah, they probably unionized, and so they kind of they don't really work unless they need to anymore. They're just kind of, you know, chill. You know, they're getting their money for union work, but they don't really need to steal as often, and they've kind of learnt their lesson about stealing from anyone with a plumb bob over their head. If they see a plumb bob over someone's head, they probably decide, you know what, might be a better idea actually to move on and steal from someone without that, because they probably won't have an alarm and they probably won't call the police. They've just wised up, guys. They've wised up, they've unionized, they have better working hours, better pay, they probably don't need to work as much anymore just to, you know, get that cash. And a lot of them have probably moved on to be repo men, because that just seems like a good career path for them, that's all. Next question is, why do Sims speak Simlish? As we know, since the very beginning, the Sims do speak Simlish when they talk, and they tend to speak in speech bubbles and gestures. Their language is written alphabetically. They have their own alphabetic language, and there are some words we can recognise. I mean, everyone knows Nubu was in Baby. There's also Sul, hello, all that kind of thing. My question is, why don't the Sims speak just English? You know, like as proper English speakers, you know, why can't they just speak English like us normal people? And my answer to that is that's racist. First of all, well, it's xenophobic, really. Not everyone speaks English, and they have their own country, they have their own culture, and they have their own language because of it. Stop asking why the Sims speak Simlish, and start asking why don't we speak Simlish, and when can I sign up for my next Simlish language learning class? Because, you know, I think that needs to be a thing. Next one is a personal deep-seated question of mine. Why is there no My Sims Agents sequel? If you don't know My Sims Agents, it was the best game in the My Sims series. I'm sorry, not sorry, it's true. It was mainly out on the Wii, and unlike the earlier titles that mostly focused on like building and that, this one more focuses on puzzles and traps and figuring out ways around. It's kind of like Sims 3 World Adventures, but better. And at the end of the game, our lovely Evelyn here did actually end up being sucked into the Nightmare crown, along with the villain of the series, Morcubus, and we were kind of left on the cliffhanger as to what happened. We could continue it, and if we managed to complete all the missions in the game, which takes a hell of a long time, you do get another ending where Evelyn does return, and so does Morcubus. And there was, at the very end of that scene, there was the boss of the agents guys saying, it's up to you to make sure Morcubus doesn't succeed with his future plans, and that he was going to rise again. And we were kind of hinted towards the sequel that Morcubus was going to come back and he was going to attack the city or whatever. And at one point there were talks about them being a My Sims Agent sequel, and we just never got one. And now I'm wondering why don't we have a My Sims Agent sequel? Why don't we have any more My Sims Agent games? What happened to My Sims Agents? I think personally, my theory is that actually the Sims team are too intimidated. They know they can never get any better than the My Sims games, and I think the same applies to Sims Medieval and Sims 2 Castaways and all that. I think they know that they can never do a spin-off game quite as good as My Sims Agents or any of the other ones. And they are cowards. They are dirty cowards. And please, please, please just give us another My Sims Agents game. I miss it. And also, if any Sims gurus are watching, hi. This is, for all intents and purposes, a joke. And do what you want. I support you. Next up, who will be the next big Sims celeb collab? It seems that the Sims team are kind of scared of doing any more celeb collabs. They've had a few with the Sims 4 where they've had like Baby Ariel as a NPC in that, but there haven't been any packs centered around any celebs. They kind of did it with Sweet Treats and never again. They have done some collabs with like various designers, like they did a Moschino stuff pack, and then the Modern Menswear pack was also some kind of it was some kind of designer whose name I cannot remember for the life of me now. That's kind of escaped me, but you know, they kind of have they've had that Mac collab as well, all that, but no actual celebs, you know, no big celeb endorsement games. And I think it's because they know that they picked a Katy Perry Sweet Treats. But I want us to Katy Perry Sweet Treats sequel personally. But I don't think it's going to be Katy Perry anymore because she's great, but she is kind of busy now with her husband Orlando Bloom and their cute little daughter Daisy. So now my question is, who is going to be the next big Sims celeb that they're going to collab with? And I like to think it's going to be Nicki Minaj or maybe Cardi B, but probably Nicki Minaj. Or maybe Lizzo. Actually, I changed my previous answers. I think it's going to be Lizzo. I think Lizzo is the perfect fit. The Sims are more about promoting body and gender diversity now. And all about like the outfits, and Lizzo fucking rocks her outfits. I'm sorry, Lizzo's amazing. She's great. And if not Lizzo, maybe Lil Nas X, or maybe both. I really want both, because obviously Lil Nas X is also about gender body diversity. He's also very, very LGBTQ. He has such a style and look to him, and I think that would go great with a Sims collab pack. So yeah, Sims 4 Lil Nas X stuff pack when? Never, because they got rid of stuff packs. So this is kind of two questions in one. How are babies made in The Sims, and what is woohoo? And you might be wondering to yourself, why Meg, why are you asking this question? Surely you should know by now that woohoo is just the Sims term for sex. And no, I don't believe it. Have you actually ever zoomed in on the bed, or did that trick where you like scale the bed down while they're doing woohoo? If you do, and if you have and you've seen underneath the covers, you'll see that they just kind of jerk around in place and they don't really actually touch each other much or anything like that. So they're obviously not having sex or anything like that. So there has to be another thing that they're doing. And I think that those random jerking of movements and those random vibrations and that are them just chilling out, having fun together, and vibing with one another. And I think the vibrations actually cause some of their cells to merge, and that's why either male or female Sims can get pregnant in The Sims or get others pregnant. It's just a designation to say where the cells merge into, and I think they don't even have a proper womb. I think they have actually a special organ that all Sims have, whether they're male or female, that kind of gets impregnated instead, that isn't a womb, which is why they can also woohoo with various other species, including werewolves and aliens, and still be fine afterwards. I mean, woohoo with a werewolf is going to be pretty violent, not gonna lie. It's going to be pretty rough, in a good way, probably in a good way, but they somehow managed to get out unscathed, and I think it's because of the vibrating cells just entering the body. This is a question that I've seen posed a couple of times but never really answered. But But my biggest question for The Sims is, who are the Sims military at war with? Because for all intents and purposes, the Sims seems to be, the whole world of The Sims seems to be some kind of utopia. We have our different worlds, our different neighbourhoods, some transitioning into others. But the thing is, they don't seem to be at war at each other. You don't see Mount Carmel and Oasis Springs dedicating war to each other, you know. You don't see them fighting or anything like that. And there seems to be, especially in The Sims 4, there seems to be free travel between all the neighbourhoods, all the worlds, and obviously some worlds and some neighbourhoods are supposed to be different countries. Obviously, like I mentioned before, Mount Carmel, that's obviously Japan. Oasis Springs is obviously in America. There's Windenburg, which is in Germany, etc. And there's Strangerville, which has a military, but again, the military, they get rewards, and they have like ranks and that, but they don't actually seem to have anyone to fight against. My theory is mostly probably aliens, not gonna lie, but also the Sims kind of seem to get on with aliens quite a bit now, especially in like later games, although they do come in incognito and in disguise, which makes it a bit confusing. So at the moment, my answer is probably going to be aliens. That's just who the military are at war with, which explains the two branches that you get in the Sims 3 military career, which is, you know, the normal military, and you also get the astronauts. The astronauts fight the wars in space. The normal military fight the wars on the ground. So one's taking it to the aliens, one's taking it from the aliens. If you know what I mean. This is a question that I've never seen anyone pose, but I want to know what is in those grilled cheeses. If you don't know, in The Sims 4 and The Sims 2, there is a hidden aspiration that you can find called the grilled cheese aspiration. There are a bunch of different things you need to do to unlock it. You have to eat grilled cheese, I believe it's 10 times in a row, or 8 or 10 times in a row, and you unlock the aspiration. And by winning the aspiration, by completing it, you can summon grilled cheeses at any time. You can make grilled cheese themed paintings, all sorts. And in general, the grilled cheeses just seem to be an addictive kind of substance in the Sims universe. You can even see from this picture here that I've included, that's from The Sims 4. Grilled cheeses actually look so much better than, say, macaroni and cheese or anything like that. They actually look good. And that makes me think that there's not just cheese in these, because you can get other cheesy dishes. Cheese in particular doesn't seem to be addictive, but something in the combination of the bread and the cheese and the frying pan and the butter just, you know, makes you wonder what's in them. My best guess is a hallucinogenic drug that inhibits the Sims and makes them think of grilled cheeses constantly. I think it's some kind of probably proto-zombie virus type deal. And that actually one day the grilled cheese obsessed Sims will take over the world, and it'll be all thanks to the grilled cheese plague. Next question is, what is Father Winter? And I ask this question because he seems to be functionally immortal, Father Winter. He always starts off as a nice gentleman named Clement Frost, and if you add him to the family and try to kill him, you're met with less than ideal results. He seems to be functionally immortal. He brings in 500,000 simoleons to the family, and he just goes around. Obviously, he appears through people's fireplaces or just by walking up to the doorstep. If you don't have a fireplace, he gives Sims gifts. You can woohoo with him, and his babies have like get bonuses on whims and all that. But sometimes he just seems to vanish. I don't know if it's because you managed to somehow cheat and kill him, or if he just maybe dies on his own when you're not there through the neighborhood stories. But he'll vanish, and he'll be replaced with some random guy called something like Aaron Winchester or like Bernard Schmidt or something like that, you know, just another random bloke, but he'll have the Father Winter designation too, and that's very confusing to me. I think that Father Winter isn't actually human. I think he isn't even an alien. I actually think that he is the spellcaster that created vampires. And I think that he was trying to make himself immortal by creating vampires. Creating vampires didn't work, but he did make himself immortal in the end and decided not to share the secret with anyone. Probably because if people found out that he was the guy who invented vampires, he would probably be killed. And the reason why there's another Father Winter is because I think it's similar to the Brick family. I think that if he dies, the curse passes on to another sim. I think the reason why they give gifts to the children is because of guilt, because of the monstrosities that they created in the vampire race. And I think because of that, the curse seeks out another like-minded individual and changes them, transforms their mindset until they become obsessed with bringing joy to children. I think it's a tragic fate for whoever for whatever sad sap ends up being the next Father Winter. Could have been prevented, probably, and he will live with the guilt from now on, and it's very sad. Next question that I want to ask is, why is there no Sims the movie? I did actually do a tiny bit of research, and apparently at one point there was a consideration for a movie. But my main theory for why there's no Sims the movie is that there's totally a Sims the movie. Absolutely. I'm sorry, but that's what's going to be announced at the Sims Summit. That's what we're going to get. We're going to get a Sims movie, and it's going to be starring Bella Goth, voiced by Chris Pratt, and we're going to have Jack Black in there, and he's going to be playing Vladislav Stroud, or maybe he's going to play someone else, a completely new character, or maybe he'll even play an older version of Alexander Goth. Who knows, but we're totally getting one. I'm calling it now. That's my most popular tweet to date, apparently, on Twitter. So I'm sticking by my guns, and I'm saying that yes, we are going to be getting a Sims movie. And finally, we have the final question. What actually happened to Bella Goth? We've seen numerous theories about this through the years, ranging from Mortimer had her bumped off, to the Calientes had her bumped off because Nina wanted to get with Morty, to Don Lothario seduced her. And I think neither of those are really true. I think that it's a very similar situation as my theory about Don Lothario. I think that actually Bella had absolutely enough with her beloved husband Mortimer. He had turned out to be kind of a dick. He was probably already cheating on her with someone, and I think she just had enough, and the reason why she disappeared on the eve of the Calientes appearance is because she actually hired the Calientes to arrive in the first place. I think she said to the Calientes, look, you can have my miserable husband Mortimer, just help me find a new life somewhere else and help me be happy. And so that's what happened. They transported her away to a happier life. Something happened though during the transportation process, and that's why she ended up in Strangeville, Strangertown even, and why she ended up in Luna Lakes as well. Different forms of her, but I think the real Bella is just somewhere else, somewhere happy and safe and calm, probably with some new kids. She probably does miss Cassandra, and she probably does miss Alexander, but I think other than that, she's happy. And I truly hope that she's moved on from Mortimer, because she truly did deserve better. And hopefully one day Alexander will be away from his father, and he'll find his own love and happiness. And that's the end of this. So in conclusion, my final question to all of you is, why did you even watch this? Why are you here? Why are we here? Are we just here? Do we just exist to suffer? No, it isn't. No, but seriously, thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, this was a kind of fun little thing. I just liked making up some series on the spot. If this does prove to be something that people like, I guess I'll do some more in the future. So if you have any further questions that you want me to answer, just leave a comment on this video, I guess, or come ask me on Twitter. I am regularly on there, constantly on there, I should say. And I always try to reply to anyone who kind of chats with me. And I guess if you did enjoy the video, just leave a like and subscribe to the channel maybe. That would be absolutely grand. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you all so very much, and I will see you again later. Have a good one. Bye bye. Ta-ra.